is me again, Ruowen Huang. Before I begin, let me first introduce myself. My name is Ruowen Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. Today I want to talk about promises. What is promises? For example, it's like I promise I would talk about promise. Therefore, here I am talking about promise. There'll be a lot of promise that I forget. Remind me of it. Remind me if I ever forget my promise. So anyway, the reason I want to talk about promise is because obviously in some episode I tell you guys I will come back to it. I want to come back to a lot of things, so hopefully I can catch up to what I want to come back with. Obviously one of the episodes I've been talking about, I want to share my perspective of promise with you guys. Like how serious it is, or how our body function, how we remember it, and therefore how we fulfill it, right? It took me a really long time to really study what promises is. At the beginning of time, I thought promise mean when I committed to something with somebody. Therefore, I had to fulfill it. Being a psychic really helped me see a lot. The reason being a psychic really helped me see a lot is I start to realize sometimes when people fulfilling their promises, it's not necessarily limited with this life, but it goes beyond this life or next or the next until you fulfill the promise. Due to that, it got my curiosity. I simply want to know, okay, so what kind of promise would fall into that category, make one soul have to return a promise? No matter how far it goes. Then through different stage of time, I start to realize we all have some kind called black box, or some kind of called library, or some kind called USB drive, whatever you call, to record every single activity, every single commitment that you have given out, whether that commitment mean anything to you or not. If that doesn't make sense to you, that is, at the beginning of the time, I thought promise means something big, something grand. Yes, I promise I would do that with you. Unless I say I promise, otherwise I don't have to fulfill what I promised. Does that make sense? But later on, as I really dig into it, I start to realize that this is not so. Why this is not so is once you have some kind of commitment coming out of your mouth, it's no longer your business. Does that make sense? Anything that you're coming out, you promise somebody to do something, it becomes a transaction between you and the other party. Sometimes not the other party, sometimes can be a group of people or something. So it's not what you feel counts. Yeah, sure, let's have coffee sometime. Yeah, sure, let's do this sometime. You might just roll in your eyes, say, yeah, whatever. Yeah, let's have coffee. Yeah, sure, let's do that. Yeah, sure, let's do that sometime. And then you turn around, you forget about it, right? What you did not realize is, by the moment you talk about that, it's no longer your business, but two people. That is, sure, let's do that. It's not only what you feel counts, it's also counting to what the other person feel. So that is, if this lunch means very insignificant to you, which you probably will forget about it, but if it means a great deal for the person that you commit this thing to, then it become a contract. In soul level, it become invisible contract. That is because it really means something to that somebody. Therefore, this contract is formed. This contract is not gonna break until you have a lunch with that someone. Due to my study, I really did not believe in that. So due to the study, I really dig into that and see how it applies. How it apply is, it start from, so are you having commitment with somebody, or you commit to certain behavior or action that will impact somebody? Remember, if it does, therefore in soul level, some kind of contract is formed, whether it matter to you or not. A lot of times you will say, but it was just a joke. I just joking. After I dig into more and more, I don't joke anymore. It's not even funny. Because I realized everything that coming out of my mouth, I had to fulfill it. Therefore, I'm hold accountable to everything I say. Therefore, I'm hold accountable to what I'm going to say. Because I always have that back knowledge knowing I will have to fulfill it sometime, somehow, some way. If not this life, and if you're lucky, you have to fulfill it this life. It could be next. The reason I say if you're lucky, you're able to fulfill it this life is, obviously there's no contract, there's no interest. After next life, you don't know how that interest got built up, right? So, by simple example, sure, I will teach you English. Then I forget about it. 2, next life, it could be, sure, I will teach you English the whole life. That time could be a period of time in that life. This time could be a whole life. So anyway, it's leave to your judgment to decide what kind of promises. For me, after years of study, I learned one thing. It comes to very basic. Basic is, well, I promised myself I would do this. Sure, you might have a mental no. This is something you commit to yourself. Maybe this life you don't fulfill, you will try to do it next one. That kind of contract is easy. But if you come up with some kind of promise, and remember, right now I'm talking about no matter how big or how small, everything you speak out of your mouth, you are forming some kind of spiritual contract with another party, as small as, sure, I will have a cup of coffee with you. As big as, sure, we will work it through together. No matter how small or how big, right? Once the contract is formed, 2 parties' thought will get put into places. It's no longer just your business. It's no longer just, yeah, I'm joking. What's the big deal? Because it matters to the other party. If whatever you say matters to the other party, therefore you have to fulfill it. If it happened to be, sure, I'm joking about, and then he's joking about, how you understand we're both joking, right? You know we're both joking, right? That's an easy way to break the easy promise. How? Just make sure you and me are on the same page, right? Therefore, you may not have to fulfill the contract because right at that moment, you actually reverse the contract you're just giving out. So anyway, I hope this one, clarify people's promise. In your dreams promise, don't worry about it. In your dream, it could be you're recalling some kind of contracts from the past life. I don't know. But unlikely I see soul in the dream and promise somebody, say, I will do this for you. That unlikely happen. If you ever show up in your dream, it's very likely you are recalling some kind of memory in the past. And you might be living in a certain period of time that remind you, hey, maybe you should do this. Promise to something in the past life somebody that I don't want to experience it in this life. Can we just go to the commitment? As long as you and the other party, whoever you have an agreement with, come to the settlement. Settlement means agreement. Okay, this is it for us, right? So anyway, hope that clarify it. If you make a promise, you that's not really what I want to do. That really doesn't what I meant. For my personal opinion, just shut up. Don't give out a promise you cannot fulfill. You're not going to do it right away, but you will master it. Trust me, you will master it. So you're don't even bother. If you have a back knowledge, knowing everything speak out of your mouth, you have to fulfill it sometime. You become very careful with your word. But if somehow accidentally you still come out, I will love you forever. That is a hard commitment to do. Why? Because people's emotion change. So if accidentally you make that kind of commitment, what do? Sorry, I'm joking. You know that, right? I love you, but I don't think I can love you forever. I will love you at this moment, and that's the best I can do. Okay? So you can always reverse your promise or reverse your word or correct it right at a spot. Okay? So anyway, if you like what I'm doing, you can always join me live on my Facebook or subscribe my YouTube channel or go to my website at ruowen.com. Till then, next time. Bye.